Today I'm going to be talking a little bit about assessing English language learners. Oral language provides the foundation for literacy development, and therefore English language learners need daily opportunities to learn and practice oral English in order for their literacy skills to flourish. Just a few considerations for ELL students. An ELL student may go through a silent period in which they listen and observe more than they speak and interact with others. And that's okay because this is their time to take in information, internalize it, and try and make sense and draw meaning. BICS versus CULP, and ELL's basic interpersonal communication skills doesn't take nearly as long to develop as does the cognitive academic language proficiency skills. Students may take longer to process before speaking or answering questions. ELLs may be more comfortable speaking in small groups due to limited English proficiency. They may overuse words until they develop more vocabulary. And most importantly, time, patience, and explicit instruction is needed to help students be successful in acquiring oral language proficiency in their second language. Assessments for English language learners. There are three commonly used formal assessments. The first one is the Language Assessment Scales, or the LAS and pre-LAS. It tests the domains of speaking, listening, reading, and writing. It provides a screening tool for qualified school personnel to administer, score, and interpret results for the placement of students in appropriate English language learner programs. The second is the IDEA Oral Language Proficiency Test, and it's administered individually. It assesses speaking and listening skills, and then students are categorized as non-English speaking or limited English speaking. Another assessment is the Basic Inventory of Natural Language. It assesses a child's natural spoken language, administered within a small group of 6 students or less, and it uses story starters, sequence pictures, activities that gets the students talking and conversing with one another. And then lastly, in Kansas, we use the CALPA test, which is given once a year. It assesses speaking, listening, reading, and writing. And then students are categorized and labeled as fluent, advanced, intermediate, or beginner. Informal assessments are also really crucial for ELL students because it helps keep track of ongoing progress more regularly and more often. It's important because formal assessments don't always reflect what ELL students truly know, and they're better for measuring ELLs over time rather than basing performance on one assessment alone. There are a couple of different types of informal assessments. One is the performance-based assessment, and it's based on classroom instruction and everyday tasks. And examples would include oral reports, demonstrations, written assignments, rubrics, observation checklists. Another informal assessment is a portfolio assessment. In a portfolio assessment, you can assess throughout the entire year, collect records, and can be monitored by teacher observation and student assessment. Language deficiency versus a language disability can be difficult to distinguish normal language acquisition versus an ELL student having a learning disability. And it is important to compare apples to apples, making sure that they are being compared to their true peers that are the same age and have similar language and are from similar backgrounds. These are some important questions to ask yourselves when you're debating whether or not an ELL student has a deficiency in their language or is it a learning disability. 1, has the student truly received an adequate opportunity to learn through research-based intervention and instruction? Does the problem exist in the primary language? Is there evidence that a student's achievement differs significantly on grade level standards from that of a true peer? Does the rate of progress differ significantly? And has the student failed to develop expected native language and English skills reasonable for developmental experiences and backgrounds, despite appropriate instruction in the years students has received ELL supports? Some research-based methods and strategies for ELL students are to increase ELL students' English language production and peer interactions, explicitly teach English language vocabulary and English structures, build on ELL's background knowledge in order to increase comprehension skills, increase writing opportunities, develop academic language during content area instruction, Provide visual and verbal supports to aid in comprehension. Use students' home language, knowledge, and culture to assist you. Provide small group support when needed. Parental involvement is key to academic success of students. Parents are an asset in getting to know children, their strengths and struggles, and background knowledge of students. There are cultural and language barriers, but parents want their children to succeed. Have open and friendly communication with your parents. You may have to have an interpreter or translator when trying to communicate with parents, and just let them know of the positive improvements their child is making. And just some conclusions to wrap up this presentation. 1, become activists and advocate for a more sensible expectation of ELLs from your school, your district, your state, and your federal level. Base your instructional decisions on sound research and experience. Collect classroom-based data to use as additional sources of information on students. And document your students' stories and use them to advocate for an educational system that takes into the account individuality of ELL students. And here are a couple slides of references that I used to put this presentation together. And I hope if you want to learn some more that you will go to some of these sites and research on your own. Thank you. Bye.